Hello, hello, hello. It's Aloha Friday, which means here we go. The fun next couple hours. And also, I swear, I get to Fridays and it's like, okay, here we go. I've got this where we can talk some good stuff and try to figure out some things for all of us. And then we go into Cantina. And yes, and someone else is crying, sitting next to me crying because they see the whole bag of treats sitting out. Yeah. See what? Yeah, that's what I need. Okay, if I ever get sponsors in life, dog treats. It works. And so, aloha and welcome, guys. I see K9 there in the chat. Another person who probably believes in treats as well as I do. And would you stop crying, little Cassie? You're not. Oh, yeah, of course you're going to get more. Of course. I always give them more during treat day. So, Friday is treat day in the house now. So hope everyone is having an amazing Friday. We're getting ready to go into a weekend, not a 3-day weekend, but still a weekend nonetheless. So those are always nice. I've been looking forward to the weekend all week this week. So I had a lot of different things going on work-wise and stuff. So just trying to get into the weekend, enjoy myself. It's been warm still here in Hawaii. I don't think we're ever going to get to winter. Of course, then we're going to hit winter, and all of us are going to be complaining about it being too cold. And yeah, K9, exactly. Treats make the world go round. That is it for us humans and the dogs. Just slightly different treat. That's all. So I actually got mine. Okay. Give people a few minutes to get in here. Ooh, hey, Siren. Welcome, my dear. And yeah, give people a few minutes to get in here and everything. But yeah, I got hooked on Costco's peanut butter filled pretzels. Oh, my God. If you like pretzels, if you like peanut butter, the Costco brand, I think they're the Costco brand. I don't know what brand they are. So, but they're good. No, did I ever... Treats you talking about? Treats? No, I just give the dogs my own treats. As for if you're talking peanut butter pretzels, I don't even know how to start something like that. And you are not getting more treats, Cassie. No, I know those are your favorites. So Rosaline made it. Hey, my dear, how you doing? And yes, we're getting here. It's Friday. It's Friday. I see the names pop in and I'm like, yep. So hope everyone's had a good week. Okay, it seems like a lot of people I've talked to have had bits of good news pop up over the last few days. And a lot of us right now, mom's out at a dentist, but it's good because she's getting things and her hearing aid is slowly working. We spent about an hour at Costco yesterday trying to fix her hearing aid. Oh my God. Yeah. I've been trying to talk mom into learning the ABCs. No. She's refusing to do that. So, Canine recipe. I would love some of those recipes. Maybe someday you can share them with me because we actually have, on Amazon, you can set up for auto renewal of certain treats or deliveries and stuff. So it's how we get our toilet paper. Okay. It's like every month we have a new shipment of toilet paper come in. Laundry soap, we do that way, but treats and dog food, I swear, yeah. 3 or 4 different types. They come in regularly. So, but it's been, hey, Sandra's here. Yes. Hey, Sandra girl. We were just talking about how it's been a good week for many of us. A lot of us have been really stressed out and stuff like that. And all of us are kind of getting some good little times. Okay. Time to focus on different things. Good news popping in for some people. The dogs are having a great time because we're on treat number 3 right now. So, Canine, I had my surgery this morning. So I'm, stupid on pain meds. That can be a good stupid sometimes, especially when you're not feeling good. And when you're not feeling good, that's the best type of stupid there is. That's for sure. So, and Siren, oh my gosh. I swear I don't have a spirit box, but I do have the apps. And I know some people, I'm sure they're jokes with them and they're just whatever. But some of them I've had some weird things pop up on my phone before. So Alice, welcome, my dear. Alice actually is getting me into the question of the day. Alice gets the reward or award award is the word, for the first person to actually answer the question other than me. And also, good work there. You're an introvert COVID. Yes. And actually, that's kind of one of the reasons why I brought this subject up. I found even myself after COVID, we got out of a lockdown. We kind of went into a semi-lockdown, kind of out, kind of in. I'm finding myself, some of my old social anxiety issues are popping up again. And I'm trying to remind myself, okay, wait, this is social anxiety. This is just me being the introvert that I am, or whatever. So I thought it'd be a subject we kind of address today. Because I do know a lot of us here are introverts, or at least extroverted introverts, like I call myself. Hey, Rubicon. Awesome. I'm happy you thought so. It's coming up with subjects. It's just, what are we all dealing with and all? And I'm like, okay, this is an interesting one, because it's another one of those subjects where people can sometimes use the same word for two totally different things. They're related. Don't get me wrong. Introversion, and as you'll see as we go through this, introversion and social anxiety are actually very related, but they are different. And so that's what I wanted to kind of address today, is the idea, what are they? And I'm seeing here, Sandra, she's yes, girl, you're an extrovert, girl. You are totally. But COVID did make it. Yep, I could see that. I think a lot of us, the introverted out there, became more introverted during COVID, and the extroverted might finally be seeing what makes an introvert tick, because they're kind of getting that feel themselves as they have to go back out in public. And so wanted to talk a little bit about, and as I started going through introvert versus social anxiety disorder, what it first came out with is this idea of traits versus disorders. Okay, a lot of times it's like, oh yeah, I have social anxiety. I'm an introvert. I have social anxiety because they are different. Okay, a trait. Okay, just definition. We're going back to the plain old good old Webster's dictionary and all that. A trait is basically a distinguishing quality or a characteristic, typically belonging to a person. So it's just a quality or characteristic. Okay, someone who has brown eyes. Okay, that's a distinguishing characteristic of me. Someone who is an introvert, it's a distinguishing characteristic of them. As compared to a disorder, on the other hand, which is an actual condition. So it's an abnormal physical or mental condition. Okay. Now, as I go through this, I do want to make a point of one thing. You guys know what my feeling is on all of this, okay, with the channel. Mental health is not something for us to be ashamed of. And I get upset when people do feel ashamed, because we shouldn't be. Okay, all of us have tendencies, okay? Depression, anxiety, PTSD issues, all those things. These things are no different. Some of us take medicine for them. What's the difference between that and diabetes? You take medication for diabetes. We're finding more and more that the brain is integral to what's going on right now. And for so long, we've been embarrassed about all these things. And it's time that we just stop taking that embarrassment away from it. Okay, there's no need for us to be. It's who we are. And we can change things. Some things we will never change. Okay, I'm probably going to deal with depression off and on throughout my life, but I try to find ways to deal with it. So when we talk about this, I don't want anyone ever feeling an embarrassment because all of a sudden they start seeing themselves in one of these disorders. Okay, we're just talking as a group of friends coming together. So looking at introversion and social anxiety now, we've kind of looked, what is a trait, what is a disorder? So introversion, and we've kind of discussed this a couple times before, introvert versus extrovert. An introvert is basically, it's a personality trait. So there's that word again, trait versus disorder, characterized by a preference for inner life of the mind over the outer world of people. So those of us who are introverted, we tend to rebuild our energy by being alone. Okay, it takes a lot more energy out of ourselves to be around other people. Okay, it's not necessarily that we can't be around other people. Okay, sometimes people kind of confuse introversion and shyness when they are different. Okay, an introvert can be shy, but they don't have to be shy. You can have an extrovert and introvert who enjoys being with people and has no problem with people. Okay, but they still need to revert back to being in their own home where they can get energy just from being alone and having alone time. So next, social anxiety or social anxiety disorder is a mental health condition characterized by a fear. Okay, so we're going into anxiety and fears of being watched or judged by other in social situations. Now, when we talk about social anxiety and any disorder, there's always a spectrum. And this is where a lot of times I get confused. Okay, because the spectrums always confuse me because it's like, well, you can be this or you can be that. And they're two totally different people and they react slightly differently, but they still have, hey, Mama Jane, no worries about being late. No worry. Love you, my dear. So social anxiety has that same spectrum. Okay, you could be someone who is, okay, that fear of being out in public or people judging you all the time and be able to do it, go out there and be part of the public and all, but you're still have that social anxiety and you're kind of finding yourself kind of disappearing at times, but then you push yourself back and you're finding ways of working through it. Or it could be all the way at the other end where the social anxiety has led to things such as agoraphobia, not wanting to be around other people and in crowds. Okay, not wanting to leave your house. Okay, things like that. So it's important to look at the whole, especially right now, since we're talking also about COVID, because I think the spectrum becomes even more important right now because many of us who may have had just a small amount of social anxiety or stuff and maybe gotten rid of most of it, now it's back, but it's like, where are we? So that's where I wanted to get into the whole idea of what all this is. So social anxiety itself, what causes it? What are the main causes of social anxiety? Why is it that some people get so nervous and anxious being around other people? Okay, well, it could be many things. It could be an early traumatic event. When we're younger, something happened to us that makes us always worried that people are judging us. Okay, because a lot of times social anxiety is coming into this idea that we are being judged by other people all the time. Anything we say, everything we do is being looked at under a microscope, okay, and people are going to find the problems in it. A lot of times that comes from that early traumatic event. It could come from an isolated upbringing. Maybe you grew up where you weren't in the city. Okay, you were maybe out on a farmland, or you were in an area, for example, myself, I grew up quite a few of my years of my early childhood in an area where no one spoke English. We were in a different country. So my brother and I became really good friends and all that, but I also became very isolated. Other than school, I really did not learn how to work with other people, how to talk with other people, how to fit in. And then on top of that, I grew up an Army brat. So every time I'd start becoming friends with someone, we'd move on to the next assignment. So then you get into this thing, okay, you don't want to become friends and all that. So I was always doing my first day of school over and over and over, it felt like. So that way you're brought up, whether it's an isolated upbringing, however, hello, Mrs. R&B, my dear, and all that can actually lead into some of the social anxiety. Right now, we're talking about COVID. okay, the isolation COVID has led to is actually causing social anxiety to pop up for many people. And then last is genetics, our brain, the way our brain is structured. Okay, the reason why I'm saying, disorders are disorders. It's just the way things are. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing for people to go cutting other people down about or anything like that. It's just who we are, what made us who we are. Okay, no different than my brown eyes. Okay, or the color of my hair or something like that. Genetics kind of give us a certain background. Okay, this is where we're going to start. This is the level we're going to start, and we're building from there. So domestication, things like that. Voila, I got domestication in there, Rosalind. And also, but it is true. That's where the isolated upbringing and things come into play. So all these things truly can lead to a combination of shyness, social anxiety, all those things kind of come in. The last one that kind of pops up a lot of times that people will bring up is introversion. Okay, does someone who is introverted have a higher chance of having social anxiety? They're not guaranteed to. I know many people who are introverts and they don't have social anxiety, but it does seem, okay, when you look at it, when I read some scientific stuff about journals and try to get more information on it, many people do feel introversion does lead to a higher degree of social anxiety because you're kind of already, remember all those things that could lead up to it. Well, if you're a child and you kind of tend to hang out in your house all the time and be alone and stuff like that, you're kind of building those building blocks that lead you to social anxiety. So yeah, I think people are realizing more and more people who are introverted are at a higher risk of developing social anxiety issues. And so I wanted to talk about and kind of go through a couple different settings, ways of telling them apart, things like that. So I wanted to start with, okay, most of us, when we think about social anxiety, we think about the P word, okay? The party, okay? Public settings, parties, okay? Now, someone who is dealing with public settings, parties, okay, you've got your introverts, you got your social, okay, your social anxiety people. Okay, an introvert or a shy person will tend to stick to a small group. I don't know. Those of you in chat right now, put a 1 in chat. If you're the type of person, when you go to a party with a bunch of people that you don't know, you're going to stick to a small group or a small quiet counter. 1, if you're that type of person. 2, if you're the type of person who just gets right in there with everyone talking story and having fun and stuff like that. And 3, if you try to get the hell out of there and be as far away from them as possible. So let's see where we are. I know I myself am a 1 myself. So yeah, I'm definitely stick to the small group and everything. Yep, we're getting some 1s in there. Perfect. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's 2. I have known a couple 2s in my life, actually. And I have known 3s. I've become a 3 once or twice. There, Mama Jane Star's a 2. And I've actually become a 3 once or twice in my life where I was like, I got to get the hell out of here, or I don't want to go to begin with. Okay, because I'm scared I'm going to say something wrong in front of new people or something like that. So a lot of the times, Rubicon 1 usually, sometimes 2, a lot of times, and we can kind of get back to this a couple times, is that with an introvert or someone who's shy or something like that, you will often go to these parties and stuff or be introduced to someone, and the anxiety is initial. You don't want to look at them in the eyes, maybe, especially if you're shy. You don't want to look them in the eyes or stuff at first, or you find yourself searching the room. Oh, yeah, hi, yeah. Oh, yeah, I work over at the McDonald's on the corner. Yeah, I'm over there, yeah. Oh, really? Is that where you kind of do that type of thing? But the difference is often when you're shy or an introvert, over time, you start feeling more comfortable that eye contact, as you get to know the person more and more, that eye contact becomes easier. Now, for someone with social anxiety, that is not happening. They can be with that person forever, and there's still that anxiety that that person's going to make a decision about them at any time. They may have known each other for a year or something, and they're going to start, oh my gosh, okay, they're going to start thinking, if I say this about that movie we saw the other day, they're going to criticize me for that. And that's what social anxiety becomes. You're always worried about that criticism. You're always worried about what people are going to think about you. So a lot of times your socially anxious person will just avoid the public setting, because over time they continue to have that case of, everyone's going to criticize me. Everyone's going to look at me. They're going to notice that my hands are shaking. They're going to notice I can't look them in the face. They're going to notice all these things. So it's just easier to stay away from it. And so they find themselves doing that over time. And not only that, they find themselves turning down invitations, because it's not just a issue of, if I go and people are going to see this, so I just leave early or whatever. You're already sure everyone's going to be criticizing you. There's a chance that they're going to criticize you before you even get there. So what do? You just politely turn down the invitations. Oh, I'm sorry, I've got something going on this day. Oh, I'm sorry, sorry, I got called into work and I have to go to work. You're not called into work. But there's that fear that that's going on. There's a fear of rejection. There's a fear of embarrassment, that no matter what you do, it's going to turn out bad. So if it's going to turn out bad to begin with, why risk it to start? And that's often the way someone is approaching things when they're dealing with social anxiety. Where someone who's just an introvert, they're going to go, and I don't know about, okay, again, you guys in chat, I've gone to parties that I did not want to go to. Yet within an hour, I'm having the time of my life. I'm having fun and I don't want to leave and all. And yet the next time I have a party going on, I'm in my mind again saying, oh my God, I don't know if I want to go again, because what if this happens? But then I go and then I feel good again. So that's that difference between the two. So one thing, hello, little puppy. Yes, I love you, dear. Someone wants up there. You can get up. So next thing I want, okay, is this feeling of self-consciousness around other people. Okay, this is something I've always, okay, you guys, we've all talked enough. Probably figured this out with me. I get very self-conscious, okay, about how I come across, okay, how I look. Are people going to judge this? Are people going to judge that? There's this overwhelming fear that others are watching, they're judging you, that something's gonna happen bad. Hi, Catlin, welcome, my dear. And so people, when they're going into this, that again, we kind of discussed this earlier, that for someone who's an introvert, someone who is shy, you're going into this, and yes, there's this feeling of self-consciousness around them, that something bad is going to happen. And but over time it lessens. Over time you feel more comfortable with it. Yet for someone with social anxiety, that overwhelm, it does not leave. It's pervasive among everything that you're dealing with, everyone you talk to, every conversation. You're worried about anything that goes on. And that leads to this fear, okay, physical symptoms, okay. How many of us, okay, remember back when you were in junior high? Okay, I grew up Catholic schoolgirl. Okay, we would have to go every Friday to church. We would go to Mass on Fridays. And my hands would sweat like crazy, especially when I was a teen. And I would be so freaking worried that my friends, or God forbid, the teachers put us in a certain order, and I was near people that I didn't know. I was so worried. Everyone would, during the Our Father, we all hold hands. Okay, if you're Catholic, you know this. Okay, actually, many religions know this. You hold hands, you say your Our Father and all that, or the handshake of peace and all that. Oh my gosh. I would sit there and leading up, I knew the lines right up to those points, and I'd be wiping my hands off on my pants, but I didn't want people to see that. So I'd try to do it and hide it. Okay. Make sure people can see me doing it and all that, because I was so freaking scared people would decide and make discussions. And you know what? After church, they would know what my hand felt like, and they'd be going around and talking to all of the cliques, the popular clique, and that popular clique would be talking about me for the rest of the week. I'm sure of it. I'm sure that's what would have happened. And also, sorry, puppy now wants down. We can't make decisions today. And also, those are things, this fear, this is normal. The fear that we all have. A lot of us always are, as human beings, we're always worried about what people will think about us, but it's how we deal with it that is the difference. So a lot of us do have those symptoms, okay? The sweating of the hands, okay, nervous shaking and things like that. But remember anxiety. Okay, we talked about the symptoms of anxiety, the physical symptoms, sweating, okay, the heart racing, okay, not being able to formulate a sentence, your mind blanking out. Okay, all these things are handling that shaking that you just can't control. For someone dealing with social anxiety, while we're all dealing with all of these little symptoms that are just common to everyone, the anxiety of it is building those symptoms even worse. And when they, in their mind, are already worried about what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think, it just makes it even worse. It's this vicious circle that trying to get out of becomes problematic. So you're always thinking ahead, what can I do to prevent these things? I'm not going to be able to prevent them. My hands are going to be shaking. They're going to be sweating. So you know what? I just won't go. Okay, some of you guys think back to the school years when, okay, well, I've got gym and I don't want people to see me dressing, and also I call out, or I get mom to get a doctor to write a note or something like that. It's that type of approach at that point. And also, this fear becomes more and more. Okay, the fear is going on when we're around people. It's going on when we're not around people. And the fear gets to the point where we're so sure everyone is seeing it. Everyone knows we're scared. So if you're socially, okay, if you're an introvert, yeah, you know what? There's that fear that, yeah, people are going to know I'm scared. People are going to know that I'm just not comfortable because I'm hanging out in that small group of 2 people in the corner there. And, but you know what? I'm fine. I'll find ways to work with it. And you know what? And then I get happy and comfortable at the party and I'm having fun. Someone with social anxiety, on the other hand, the anxiety continues to ramp up because they're so sure everyone else is seeing what's going on. Okay, Canine, that's what I love. That's actually, Canine just said, okay, let me see if I can pull this up here. Right here. Here we go. I'm the odd one out. I don't really give a crap what people who don't know me think about. And, I love that. And I know there's some people who are like that, and I think it's great. And I've actually tried to learn from them over the years, because of the fact that I see what is happening and how it affects me. And I'm like, okay, this is possible. I see it in other people. How can I learn from what they're doing? How do they see the world differently than how I see it? Okay, because there's a lot of people. There you go. Mama Jane, same thing. Okay, so many people who can be that way. So what makes them tick? What makes them think differently than I do when I'm in these crowds? I used to be much worse than I am now. Okay, I'll actually say, yeah. Before about 2012, when one of my good friends came back to the island, I never went anywhere. I stayed in my house all the time. I was comfortable in my house. I didn't have to worry about what other people were thinking about me. I did not like crowds. Forget going shopping, okay, during Black Friday. That freaked me out like crazy. But I felt very comfortable. And then I had one of my best friends come in, and they kept pushing me to get out. And I started getting out. And I started finding myself over time, that fear started lessening more and more. I wasn't always worried about the worst case. I still worry, and I still do worry, but it's feeling more comfortable over time now. That fear that other people are going to see me anxious and judge me has disappeared over time. What I found with me, I kind of came to this realization that, you know what, these people are my friends. And my friends realize that if I'm anxious, they know who I am. I don't need to hide who I am from them because they like me the way I am. Okay, all the flaws, all the screw ups, all of that, they like who I am so I can be myself with them. The next step was me feeling comfortable enough to tell them what I thought, because that was the next step. Okay, you know what? If I don't ever say what I think, then they can't judge what I say. And but over time, I'm slowly starting to get that. I still have major issues there. That's where my social anxiety comes with. I'm always worried about that. I'm starting to realize, and part of that's age also. You hear that quite often. People, as they get older, they're like, when I was young, I worried about everything people thought about me and all that. But now that I'm getting older, I'm like, oh, fuck that. I don't give a shit. Okay, life's too short. I'm going to be who I am and do what I want and feel the way that I am, as long as I know I'm doing the best that I can. I'm being the best person that I can be. And so I think that's important for all of us to realize also. Over time, though, okay, as we go through this, yeah, that level of comfort does start to become, it builds. It builds, okay, over time, where you were scared, like I said, of talking to my friends and telling them what I believe, or worried about how I looked or something. Oh my God, I didn't want them to see me without makeup or whatever bull crap like that. Over time, that comfort starts building. Now, the problem is with someone with social anxiety disorder, that level of comfort does not build, because they're always still, they're in that thing of, what's going to happen? They're going to start judging me. And if they judge me, they're going to start thinking this. And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose that friendship. Or, oh my gosh, they're going to laugh at me. And so that comfort is never allowed to actually build because of those fears. And that's what the problem. A lot of times when we're worried about what everyone else thinks, we're forgetting about the person that matters, which is yourself. Are you happy with yourself? K9 just asked, do you think it's more a lack of confidence or actual anxiety? That is a freaking good question. That is, I don't know. Chat, what do you guys think about that? I'll help share some of my thoughts too, but I would love to see, because I honestly don't know. And that's why I do this, is because it's a great time for us to all come together and talk about this. I think it's myself, a combination of the both. I think it's a lack of self-confidence, because again, going back to some of that stuff we were talking at the beginning, okay, that lack of being around people and building skills and stuff as a child. Okay, if you don't have that confidence to begin with, then it builds the anxiety. So one builds off of the other. So it's not an anxiety. Now, some people, yes, the anxiety it's that kind of, we talked about anxiety and the anxiety cycle, and how it's that vicious cycle that unless you break it somewhere, it continues going on and on. That's my kind of thought on this thing, is the more that you're worried about the more you have that lack of confidence, that lack of belief in yourself, it becomes hard to break it and start taking the control back from the anxiety. Okay, if you go back to that anxiety video where we were saying you got to at some point break the thought process. Okay, the worries, things like that. It's the same thing here. Mama Jane, let's see. I look at it this way. If someone wants to talk junk about me, I don't care. If they're talking to me, they are leaving someone else alone. I'm good with, you know what? And that's part of the thought here. If you believe in yourself, if you know you're being the best person you can be in life, okay, if people are talking about you. And that's the hard lesson to learn, because it worried me to death to be talked about forever. And it still does. Don't get me wrong. It still does. It hurts when you're talked about. But you start realizing, if you know who you are in your heart, that's what matters. Okay, if you're open and honest with yourself and you look at yourself and you're like, okay, how did we get here? What have I done? Okay, am I doing anything here? How am I addressing this? Things like that. That's what matters. So you build those things. A little of both, Alice. Yeah, you had anxiety with a certain person belittled you, no confidence. Yeah, and that's it exactly, Alice. I think when all of us have anxiety, and I think that's why it's important to realize social anxiety does have that whole spectrum. And it's not all one end, all one the other end. And you can go back and forth in the spectrum too, depending on where you are and what's going on around the world, i.e. COVID. Okay. Yes, Siren, you love the positive validation, right? Right now, right now, right now. And but if the negative validation comes in, it starts building that anxiety, because you start questioning yourself. And like, okay, Alice said, okay, someone starts belittling them, it starts affecting confidence, and then confidence goes down, anxiety goes up, and then someone belittles them again, and it goes even more, and it goes, and at some point there, you've got to find a way to cut that. And that's where the problem becomes, especially for people where this is not natural. It'd be interesting to find out the type of person that this is natural for. Because for some people, it's totally natural to be able to say, well, fuck it, I don't care. I know who I am. There are many people out there that can do that. And I think it's amazing when they can do that. And so what type of person is that? More of an extroverted personality that does that. I used to think that. I don't know if that's true now. But I used to think, oh, yeah, extroverts just can say that. No, they just deal with it differently, I think. A shy person versus a non-shy people. Exactly, Mama Jane. People who know you know the person you are. Okay, I'm the person you see online as well as offline. I don't change yet. And I think that's important for a lot of us, because I think when you try to be different people, that's when you start having problem, because too many questions start popping into your life because you're not sure exactly who you are. You just got to be yourself, no matter who you are. Okay, where you are, what you're doing. Okay, yes, to some degree, we all have different personalities based off of work versus family or stuff like that. But in the end, what makes us tick should remain the same between all of them. And so within this, the other thing that does happen a lot of times, especially with someone with social anxiety, a person who does have social anxiety, especially someone who is trying to go out there and trying to prove that they can do all these things and trying to make the changes, sometimes it goes in a very positive way and they're using really good ways of dealing with it. Other times they will find other behaviors that make it easier to go out and do these things. So think about if any of you guys go karaoke. Okay, or karaoke if you're on the mainland, sorry. Okay, for those people who go out and do that, I don't know about you guys, even those of us who sing, we get nervous and you get scared. Oh my gosh, people are going to judge how I'm singing on this. Okay, I'll go out, okay, with a bunch of actors after a show, and these people can sing. They can sing. And I'm not that level of singer, okay? I sing, that's it. I don't sing, I sing. And also I start worrying, oh my gosh, I don't want to sing the song. Oh God, you want to do it? No, I don't want to do a duet. And I start backing up and I start doing all of my nervous, social anxiety type of behaviors. These fears are popping up in my head that, oh shit, what am I going to do about this? They're going to start judging me, and then they're going to be like, oh yeah, this girl should not get cast in this, or this girl has no right to do this type, or even be involved in stage managing a musical because she can't sing, or whatever it is. Your mind goes crazy with it. So what do we sometimes start doing? You're at a party. What's the one thing that tends to be at parties in excess? Alcohol. So a lot of us will go and grab that liquid courage. And we drink that liquid courage. And over time, what happens is we start using these unhealthy behaviors or ways of getting through it to address the social anxiety. Okay, the fears of what people are going to say about us. But in reality, we're not dealing with the actual fears themselves. All we're doing is putting off the fear, because what happens when you get home and you're up, I'm back. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's up with my Wi-Fi lately, but I'm having the Wi-Fi craziness too. Yes. And also, you get home, all of that alcohol gets out of your system, and what starts happening? You start remembering the night before, and every one of those fears and judgments and all that shit starts coming to the forefront of your mind. So everything that you did, that self-medicating to be able to go out in public, is now back full force. And again, like the anxiety cycle, you're not breaking it. You're just continuing it more, and you're making it worse. You're making that anxiety even worse, because now you're sure not only did all these people see you singing and making a fool out of yourself, but they saw you drunk. Oh my God. And because I was drunk, I acted this way, or I did this, or I did that. And so all of these things start popping up. So that's one of the areas where we try to address the stuff. Okay, the whole idea of any type of anxiety, but especially social anxiety, and it can turn around and bite us in the butt later on. Another type of social anxiety, or how we react slightly differently, is this anticipatory anxiety before an event. So, and it actually can hold us back. I can't talk. Anticipatory anxiety really can hold us back in life generally. Okay, so put it this. Okay, say you have a speech. Okay, your best friend is getting married. They're going to ask you, because your whole life you've been like, oh, you're going to be my bride of honor, okay, and I'm going to be yours, and you've always talked this. That is popping up soon. Now, someone who is introverted or shy or something on that level is going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to get asked for this. I know I'm going to have to give a speech, and I'm nervous with speeches. And you get asked and all that, and you're like, yeah, you're my best friend. Of course I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to do it. Yeah. And you're in front of this. Okay. You go in front of the mirror and you practice your speech many times and all that, and you work it on, and you just start working through all of those processes. Okay. Getting comfortable with the speech. Okay. Knowing you're going to be in front of people, and your friend knows that you're going to be nervous, and they're going to be there for you and all that. Now, someone with social anxiety, on the other hand, okay, is thinking about this whole process. I'm going to have to do the speech. I'm going to have to get up there. I'm going to have to talk to people. I'm going to have to kind of coordinate things. I'm going to have to organize things. And many times they may actually get to the point where when their friend asks them, would you please be my maid of honor? No. And they'll actually say, I love you dearly. I can't do it. Something's happened and I just can't do it. Or they find other ways to, but maybe so-and-so can give the speech, or all these, they find other ways of trying to work things through, because the anticipatory anxiety, okay, isn't going away. It's not going to go away. The more they practice the speech, the more nervous they get, because every time they practice the speech and they might skip over a word or have a problem with something, those are more questions in their mind, more nerves in their mind. So it's just easier to say no. Now, this can go even further. Someone with social anxiety may actually turn down a job promotion, because that job promotion might actually put them in charge of a group of people, and they can't do it. It's just something that they've not been able to address. And the fears of what could happen if they were in that position are something that they just can't get past. So the anticipatory anxiety becomes more and more of an issue for them every single time something comes on. And a lot of times that comes from the past negative experiences. Okay. How many of you guys have had? Okay, yeah, Mama Jane. I used to be very afraid to speak and stand up for but now, yeah. And see, that's come from this change. It comes slowly over time. And all of a sudden you start realizing, I can speak up for myself. This is cool. I can do this and people don't always judge me. And if they judge me, you know what? It didn't kill me. It didn't kill me that someone actually judged me. I was actually okay in the end. And that's what you found over time, I would think, Mama Jane. That's where I've kind of come over time. But a lot of times with past negative experiences, okay, you do go out and you're at a party and you say something, you just flumble over your words and stuff with some guy that is gorgeous or something like that. And the guy kind of rolls his eyes and walks away and you hear him muttering under his breath or something. Well, all of a sudden, that's going into your head as a negative experience. Now, someone who's introverted, okay, and even shy, they're going to look at that experience, and yes, it might affect them, but it doesn't overwhelm them. Okay, they're like, okay, this has happened. Yeah, that was stupid of me. That was probably not the best way to address that. Now I've learned I can't address things this way. This is how I want to do it in the future. You learn from those experiences and you see it as a positive. Okay, the positive that, you know what, I fucked up something there or I made a fool out of myself there. It's a positive because, you know what, I did survive it. Okay, and I've learned something about myself and about how to react around other people. While on the other side, someone with social anxiety, they do that, they see that, and in their mind, it's already running off to this idea that this gorgeous guy is going around to the next group of people and talking about this idiot that he just talked to who made a fool out of herself. And then that's going to go, and next thing you know, everyone in the room is talking about you. May not even be happening, but in your head, that's something that is going on. So you've seen these things happen, okay, and you're okay, or God forbid on TV, you see things like this happen on TV. So you're like, oh, it's going to happen with me. It's something that's going to happen with me. So you start learning from those things, and it's just how you approach it. Which way are you going to approach things? Not that it's easy. Trust me, it's not easy changing that cycle. It's hard changing that cycle. But those are the things where the difference kind of does change. Rosalind, you know what? That's a good thing to say. That's actually how I've started seeing my life also. Rosalind, for those of you who are not in chat, said the main reason I do a lot of the things I do is to overcome my social anxiety. That is a change in mind, and I'd never actually put it one-on-one in my head that way, but that's actually the way I've started changing my way of thinking also. If I don't try these things to overcome it, it's not ever going to happen. So you've got to push yourself. I've got to push myself to do things that I might not have done in the past because I've got to overcome it. And it's not comfortable. And that's where it's good to have a good group of people that you can lean back on and be like, oh, fuck, I screwed up. I can't believe I just did that. And oh my God. And they're going to sit there. They're going to laugh with you. They might cry with you. They're going to be there with you through it. But they're not judging you for it. They're there for you. And that's where it becomes helpful with that. The other thing is sometimes with past negative experiences, someone may have been bullied. They may have been teased for that past experience. Okay, maybe that gorgeous guy did go around and was a dick and went around talking to everyone. And next thing you know, 3 days later, the word gets back to you that they've been doing that. Okay, it does happen. Shit like that does happen. There are dicks out there, trust me. Okay, and because of that, though, a person with social anxiety is so it could happen again. If it happened once, it could happen again. And I don't want it to happen again. So if I'm not in that situation, it won't happen again. So it's that whole idea, but doing like Rosaline said, okay, just doing the stuff because you have to overcome it. Because once your brain makes that anxiety distinction again, that, oh shit, I just did it and I survived, it stops sending you as many of those signals saying, oh, hold on, you got into trouble in that event before. So that whole, okay, for those of you who may not have seen that video about the anxiety cycle and all, please, I think it was 2 weeks or so ago, it was definitely talking about how we can stop that. And social anxiety in the end is anxiety. Okay, there's a number of different types of anxiety, and this is just one of them. Another thing that they tend to do, if there's one thing you've noticed throughout all of this, is this over analyzing. Everything we do when we are focused on social anxiety is over analyzing and criticizing everything that we do. Okay, we are looking at everything from their point of view. Okay, it's not looking at it from our own point of view. It's looking at stuff. It's going to bed. Okay, I don't know how many of you guys have done this, and there's a good side. See, again, good, bad, nothing's good or bad. It depends on where you're going from it. I'll go into bed after a really rough day or something bad has happened, and it plays over and over and over in my head, and I can't go to sleep. But I'm going through every single word or every single action, and I'm like, okay, wait, is this what happened here? Okay, what about this? And then even if I feel comfortable with what happened, I start thinking, but something had to have happened there. So maybe it's this, maybe I said this and this was taken this way. And I just start trying to make dot to dots that don't even belong together. But I'm so hyper interacts. My internet sucks today, and mom isn't even at home. So we've got problems out here today. So yeah, the difference between learning from the past versus obsessing about the past. Okay, that's the one area we really have to take a look. If you're trying to break through that social anxiety, I think that's where the key is. Okay, you want to learn from the past. The past is there to teach us stuff. There's nothing wrong with the past teaching us stuff. But we do not need to obsess or let the past rule us. That's where the problem becomes. And hey, Iris made it. I was on Iris's channel before and I just loved it. And Iris is awesome. For those of you who haven't had a chance to check out Iris, Pia, come here. I got treats. And also Iris's channel is great. She had a great little live going on earlier. So don't focus on that past, okay? Don't obsess about it. Look at it, learn from it. It's important to learn from that. Okay, but the problem becomes once we start obsessing about the past, it creates new insecurities for us. Love you, Iris. It creates more insecurities. The more we are hyper analyzing things and looking for problems or looking for where we screwed up all the time. Okay, yes, you want to look for where you screwed up or where you could become better, but you don't want to get to the point where all you're ever doing is trying to find mistakes within you, because sometimes it becomes a thing where it's so focused that you're creating nothing but new insecurities for you to have to overcome. And that's where it becomes problematic for us. One of the things I've discovered while looking throughout all of this research I've been doing and stuff like that is that someone dealing with social anxiety, it seems one thing, they tend to look at everything through someone else's eyes. And that's something I've always done. I've always tried to treat other people the way that I wanted to be treated, look at how what I say affects another person as if I was that person, because then that would be how I want. So I start doing all these things and I don't realize that can be good. But again, you can take it too far. And that's everything is in moderation. And a lot of times, go check that pizza, Mama Jane. And also a lot of times we get into this thing between I got to look at everything from other people. I got to see what I'm doing wrong. I got to see what I'm doing wrong. But you know what? Sometimes just be you. You are learning. Every one of us in here is learning. You're not in this channel if you're not willing to learn and talk and think about things. Okay. But it's also very important for you to realize you're being taught things. Okay. God's teaching you things. Okay. Your own lessons are teaching you things about who you are. And also don't get it to the point where you're totally focused on, I'm a fuck up. Because you know what? You're not a fuck up. Okay. You just need to find those things and find ways to do it. So look at how things affect other people, but don't dwell on it. Don't allow it to create those insecurities within yourself. Don't allow that creation, because all that's doing is you a disservice in the end and getting stuck on it. So the one thing, like we kind of kept going back and forth on, is this COVID and social anxiety. I know myself, and a lot of you in chat seem to, it's something that has happened to you also. I found I dealt with social anxiety pretty heavily at one point, like I said, back in the early 2010s and all. And I really was proud of myself because I had come so far in it. I was going to parties. I was enjoying it. I'd be like, a friend would say, hey, you want to go do this? And I wouldn't even think twice. I'd be like, okay, yeah, that sounds great. Okay, I was getting to points where I was going out 4 or 5 times a week and I was having a blast. Then COVID hit. And all of a sudden I feel all of these old anxieties coming back again. Oh my God, I'm going to be sitting here and I got to go back out to go, oh gosh, I'm going to start. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I found myself back where I was 10, 15 years ago, where I didn't want to go to things. I didn't want to connect onto a Zoom. I didn't want to be around other people because, oh shit, I'm going to be saying things that people are going to start second guessing. I found myself right back in that same place. And that's when I realized, yeah, it's something I needed to look at. And so I definitely, and thanks. Rosalind is putting in that you guys, I've said it before, and I need to do a follow-up video on the 4 agreements because I do keep talking about it. The 4 agreements, truly, whether it's social anxiety, whether it's depression, whether it's anything, I mean, seriously, the 4 agreements has taught me so much. Because if you're going through that anxiety, social anxiety is about worrying about what other people are thinking about you. But if you go back to your 4 agreements, which is telling you don't take anything personally, right there. Why am I taking something personally if all it is doing is holding me back from being who I'm supposed to be, from learning the lessons I'm supposed to learn? So, yeah, Rosalind, we should. Yes, definitely. Let's work on it. There's a couple of you I need to get together with for sure. But yeah, Rosalind, you and I on the 4 agreements, that would be it. So yeah, I think social anxiety is definitely something, as we all kind of go through it, we're noticing it's hitting us. I noticed a lot of you guys in chat today were like, yeah, I'm noticing it's hitting me more. I'm not going to go read 33. Well, if you don't want to read 33 pages, just go watch the 5 videos, because I got the 5th agreement snuck in there too. And actually, Iris, I will. I'm going to do a follow-up on it. Rosalind and I will talk about that. But actually, if you go back, for any of you guys who are new, actually, it was some of my first videos I did was on the 4 agreements. I did 1 video on each of the agreements. And basically, that book has been in my life since 2000-ish or so. When I first started dealing with my own healing and stuff like that. Those books truly spoke to me more than any other book. Well, it's 1 book. And unless you count the 5th one. There we go. Rosalind's getting them in. Be impeccable with your speech. What's it? I have to go now. No problem, Mama Jen. We will be having Aloha Friday, YT Cantina. Cantina definitely will be happening today. So we'll see you there. So, but yeah, no, it really is, because if you look at those rules, it's kind of like the 10 Commandments for those of you who are Christian or anything. You follow those, they're really going to help you. This here, okay, just be impeccable with your speech. Don't say something that you're going to be embarrassed about later. Don't say, and by embarrassed, I mean your heart will hurt because you said. Okay, being impeccable about your speech is not about fearing saying stuff. It's about saying things that are real with who you are. Okay, it's not saying things to cut people down. It's not saying things to be an asshole or a dick. It's saying things to be you and to say who you are. Okay, don't take things personal. Okay, most times, okay, it's that old adage, if someone's like this, okay, pointing at you, 3 fingers are pointing back at them. Okay, it's that whole thing. I actually, Iris, I have a personal Facebook, which I don't mind sharing with people privately, but I do not have a channel Facebook yet. It's something I'm thinking about, but yeah, I should probably do that at some point. Make no assumptions. This one's a biggie, because how many times I make assumptions. I hear something someone's saying, and then I combine it with number 2, nothing personal. And I make assumptions while taking it personal, which is a recipe for a nightmare. And then just do your best. If you're freaking doing your best, what else can you do? I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're doing your best and trying to be the best person you can, you're going to fuck up at times. Yes, I will, Iris, for sure. You know what? You're going to mess up. You're going to fuck up. You're going to do things wrong, but you know what? You're trying to do your best, and that's all anyone can ask of you. And then last, listen and learn, but be skeptical. Always be looking out, trying to see what's going on. So it's definitely those 4 agreements. I know it sounds funny when I always say it, but they really do make a difference in life. And they're easy. They're easy to remember. I mean, look at that. Rosalind just popped them all 4 in there real quick. So, and also, I hope you guys all have an amazing week. We are going to be doing Cantina today. Cantina will start in 57 minutes from now, just long enough for me to go grab myself something to eat. I got my iced tea here, but I got to go get my other stuff. And then I will have to go get my diamond painting, because I've started a new one. So, and Iris, exactly. If you're doing your best and you fuck it up, at least you're learning from it. Okay, just get up and shake it off. Oh, Cantina, you'll have to come back in an hour. Well, Iris, I know you're going off to church soon, but it's just we hang out for a couple hours and talk story. We can get 9 people up on panel and it becomes totally chaotic. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of us just hang out, talk stories. Sometimes we laugh, sometimes we cry. Sometimes it's serious. Sometimes it makes no sense whatsoever because we're all over the place. That's usually all the time. But it's a lot of fun. So when you get back from church, my dear, come in and check and see if we're still going on. So, but yeah, I will see y'all at Cantina. I'll be posting the link in just a couple minutes. But thank you guys so much for coming every week, because honestly, these are issues I'm working on within myself. And it helps when I have other people that I know are also thinking about the same issues, because I'm getting ideas. Some of the ideas I got out of chat tonight have been amazing, and I really appreciate them. So, because they're getting written in my notes in my phone right away as soon as I get out of here, because there's some quotes I could take to heart real quickly. So I hope to see you guys soon. I love all you guys. Come join us in Cantina. Okay, and we will have fun. Okay, and I look forward to seeing you guys for all this stuff next week. Aloha. I love you guys. Bye-bye.